President Trump is today warning Iran's men's soccer team that they may want to stay away from the World Cup for their own, quote, life and safety.
President Trump says he is not happy with Iran.
Red lines.
Iran will be participating at the FIFA World Cup 2026. And of course, Iran will play in the United States of America.
Two nations at war, one football pitch, 90 minutes. Iran and America have not had diplomatic relations for nearly 50 years. There is an active conflict between them as this tournament begins, and yet, in 6 weeks, Iran will walk out onto a pitch on American soil, in front of a packed stadium, and play football. Whatever you think about the politics, that is one of the most remarkable things sport has ever been asked to do. They call themselves Team Melli, the national team. Iran has been playing international football for over a century. They have won the Asian Cup 3 times, 3 consecutive titles in 1968, 1972, and 1976, without losing a single game. They have qualified for 7 World Cups, more than any other nation on the Asian continent, and yet, in all 7 of those appearances, they have never once made it out of the group stage, consistent enough to always qualify. Not yet able to go further, but Iran's relationship with the World Cup has never been purely about football. It has always carried something larger. At the 1998 World Cup in France, Iran were drawn against the United States. The two nations had not spoken diplomatically since the 1979 revolution. The build-up was tense. The security operation around the match was unlike anything seen at a World Cup before or since. And then, before kickoff, the Iranian players walked across the pitch and handed their opponents white roses, a gesture of peace. Broadcast to hundreds of millions of people around the world, Iran won 2-1. To this day, it is considered one of the most politically significant matches in World Cup history, not because of the football, but because of what happened around it. Nearly 30 years later, Iran are coming back to play on American soil. The political backdrop is more complex than it has ever been, and football is, once again, being asked to carry something far bigger than a result. On the pitch, Iran's qualification was commanding. Under head coach Amir Galanoe, they topped their AFC qualifying group with 23 points, 2 ahead of Uzbekistan. They lost just once in 16 matches. Disciplined, organized, difficult to break down. Captain Mehdi Taremi scored twice in the final qualifying match to seal their place. Iran were going to North America, a 7th World Cup, a 4th in consecutive succession, a record of consistency no other Asian nation has matched. Off the pitch, the road was far more complicated. In December 2025, widespread protests broke out across Iran, triggered by economic pressures that had been building for years. The unrest touched every part of Iranian society, and football was not insulated from it. Several current and former players spoke publicly about the situation. Captain Taremi expressed solidarity with the Iranian people. Former international Ali Karimi, one of the most gifted players Iran has ever produced, used his platform to speak about the country's direction. The Iranian women's national team, competing in Australia at the time, saw several players choose to remain abroad and seek asylum, a situation that drew global attention. The Football Federation faced its own difficulties. Iran's delegation to the FIFA Congress in Vancouver earlier this year was unable to attend, after members were denied entry into Canada. The Federation president turned back at Toronto Airport. Through all of it, the team prepared. They trained in Turkey, they played friendlies, they kept working, and FIFA confirmed what many had wondered. Iran will play all 3 group games on American soil in Los Angeles and Seattle. The question of what this World Cup means for the players, for the Iranian people, for the diaspora communities in those cities is one that football alone cannot answer. But football will give them 90 minutes at a time to figure it out together. Mehdi Taremi, 31 years old, a striker who has played at the highest level of European football for over a decade. Porto, Inter Milan, and now Olympiacos, where he scored 16 goals in 35 appearances this season, including 1 against Real Madrid in the Champions League. Iran's 3rd all-time top scorer, 56 international goals, the most complete centre-forward this country has ever sent to a World Cup. He has carried enormous responsibility, both on and off the pitch. in the months leading into this tournament. How he channels that on the field, in stadiums filled with Iranian Americans whose connection to their homeland runs deep, will be one of the defining human stories of this entire World Cup. Alireza Behranvand, the goalkeeper, commanding, vocal, a veteran of multiple World Cup cycles. Iran's defensive solidity starts with him. If they are to finally reach the knockout rounds, Behranvand will need to be the wall he has been throughout qualifying. Alireza Jahanbakhsh, a winger with pace, craft, and the experience of winning the Eredivisie title with Feyenoord. He has been a consistent performer for this national team across 3 World Cup campaigns. In a tournament where Iran will need moments of individual brilliance, Jahanbakhsh is the man capable of producing them. Sardar Azmoun, nicknamed the Iranian Messi, technically gifted, physically imposing. Experienced at the top level of European football with Bayer Leverkusen. When Azmoun is fit and firing, he is genuinely unplayable. His availability and form heading into this tournament will be a key factor in how far Iran can go. Iran are in Group G, alongside Belgium, Egypt, and New Zealand. By any measure, this is the most favorable group Iran have ever been drawn into. Belgium's golden generation has given way to a transitional squad. Egypt carry the weight of expectation on the shoulders of Mohamed Salah, one of the greatest players of his generation. But the support around him is limited. New Zealand are there to compete and to make their nation proud. Iran, ranked 21st in the world, their highest ever FIFA ranking, enter this group as genuine contenders to advance. Their games in Los Angeles will be played in a city home to one of the largest Iranian communities outside Iran itself. The atmosphere in those stadiums will be unlike anything else at this World Cup. Iranian Americans who have carried their culture, their language, and their love of football across decades and across oceans will be in those stands. The experience for the players, walking out in America, representing Iran, in this moment in history, will be one they carry for the rest of their lives. On the pitch, Iran's realistic target is second in the group, a place in the round of 32. That would be the greatest achievement in their World Cup history, and the moment this team finally breaks a ceiling that has held for nearly 5 decades. In 1998, before the most politically significant match in World Cup history, Iranian players handed white roses to their American opponents. No political statement, no gesture of defiance, just footballers, on a pitch, choosing to reach across the divide. One of the American players said afterwards, "We did more in 90 minutes than the politicians did in 20 years. Now, in 2026, Iran and America are not even playing each other, but Iran is playing in America, in Los Angeles, in Seattle, on pitches that will hold tens of thousands of people whose stories connect both countries in ways that no diplomatic meeting ever could. Football cannot end a war. It cannot resolve decades of tension. It cannot answer the questions that politics has failed to answer for half a century, but it can put people in a room together. It can give them something to feel at the same time. It can remind the world, for 90 minutes at least, that the people on opposite sides of a conflict are still just people. Team Melli are coming to America. 7 World Cups, never past the group stage, the highest ranked squad they have ever assembled, the most eyes that have ever been on them. This is their moment, and whatever happens, the world will be watching. If you want the stories behind the tournament, the journeys, the nations, the moments that make the World Cup more than just football, subscribe to World Cup Untold. A new story every week.